Bernie. So what we'd like to do is we want to give Bernie the biggest cheer to get him up on the stage. So I'm going to announce Bernie, and I want everybody to grab your signs, make him welcome. So welcome our next U.S. Senator, Bernie Moreno.
Thank you so much for coming out. You know, this is where we kicked off our campaign in April of last year. And I said to you then that we're going to come back and do our last big event here in Claremont County. And I'm so honored to be here. Before I get started, it would be remiss if I didn't point out somebody here who, despite going through a tough time herself, got through all that. And has sat in my car every single day for almost a year, 2,000 miles a week to every corner of Ohio. Wow. Bridget, stand up, be acknowledged. By the way, Bridget. We'll celebrate 35 years of marriage this year, and it's unbelievable. Thank you. I also want to acknowledge, and I'm going to pick on you later, Dennis. I'm going to pick on you later. My father-in-law and my mother-in-law, who live not too far from here, Dennis and Gail Brickley. And if you notice the last name, Brickley, they're already judging me for not wearing green today. So, and I also want to acknowledge a group that has been with us since the very beginning. They did a great job for us yesterday with President Trump. We did a parade from Union County all the way down to Dayton. One of the gentlemen ran out of fuel, but that didn't stop him because he ran out of fuel and still made it on time. Not sure how that worked. Bikers for Trump and Smitty, thank you so much. So we're 48 hours away. 48 hours away. As Ohio, to make a very, very clear distinction. So I'm going to do what President Trump did yesterday because I love the way he does it. We're going to do a poll. We're going to do a poll. That's what he likes. Let's do a poll. Do you want to go back to the Romney, Bush, Cheney, Kasich, DeWine, Portman party?
No.
Do you want the party of J.D. Vance?
Yes.
President Trump?
Yeah.
I think the eyes have it, JB. That's what this election is ultimately about. Because I call them the swamp rhinos. It's not enough to be the rhinos, the swamp rhinos, which, by the way, is what's held us back. Let's just be clear about that. We understand what Democrats do. Democrats will vote like Democrats do.
They're terrorists.
They never disappoint us. They tell us what they're going to do, and they do it. Yep. It's Republicans. It's Republicans that stab us in the back, that hold back the agenda. If you look at why don't we have immigration laws that prevent people from coming here illegally and claiming asylum, it's not because of Democrats, it's because of Republicans.
Yep.
Why do we have this Green New Deal sifting through our system with trillions of dollars being spent to take prime farmland and convert it to solar fields and forcing people to drive electric cars? It's Republicans. You look at vote after vote after vote. The issue for me in this election that's so clear in that regard is this issue of Ukraine. Now, let me just tell you where I stand, and you may not agree, which is fine. I believe that we have a lot of problems here at home. And that we have 37,000 homeless vets. We have the working class and seniors that are getting absolutely crushed. We're almost $35 trillion in debt. And we've learned over the last 50 or 60 years that endless wars help the elites and hurt the working class.
Yes.
So my point of view is let's get to peace. Now, my opponent, Mitt Dolan. Mitt thinks that the most important thing is Ukraine. You know what? This is an actual quote. You ready for an actual quote? He got endorsed by the liberal editorial board of the Cleveland Plain Dealer, which I thought was embarrassing. Imagine you're a Republican and the Cleveland Plain Dealer editorial board endorses you. It's like, yikes. It's almost like the wine endorsement. Oh, no, that happened too. So in that interview, he says the words, listen to these words, and think about where you are today, right now. What your state of mind is for America today. He says the following words. We have to stop being distracted by the dysfunction at the border to fulfill our obligation to Ukraine. That's insane. I said this yesterday with President Trump. What does this mean? Right here. My obligation is to the United States of America. Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to be the United States Senate of America. I don't know if Ukraine has a Senate. I suspect they don't. I think they have a dictator, but I don't know. But if they had a Senate, maybe he should run there to fulfill the obligation there. But here, my obligation is to the people of Ohio, and then to the people of the United States of America. And that shouldn't be confusing. Now, I'm not naive. I know that a lot of you came to listen to our absolutely spectacular, incredible Senator, J.D. Vance. And of course, Kari Lake, who's much better looking than both of us. But I want to end with something that people ask me all the time. How do we bring the Republican Party together? And I'm going to answer that question for you. I think what we as Republicans have to unite about, which is very different than the Bush-Cheney party, is this idea of what does it mean to live the American dream? Now, people will say that I did. People say that, well, Bernie, you bought this tiny little dealership with every cent that you had in your life. You turned that little dealership into $1 billion company and made a lot of money. And I said, not really the American dream. Because there's wealthy people all over the earth. The American dream is right there. Dennis Brickley. I told you I was going to embarrass you, Dennis. I can't look at you because you may beat me up. All right, so Dennis Brickley lived the American dream, and that's the American dream that I believe that we unite about. What does that mean? This is a gentleman who went to high school, grew up in a small town in Indiana, Hobart, Indiana. Graduated high school. The next day, he went to work for U.S. Steel. And by the way, JD, let's make sure it stays U.S. Steel. Right? He was able to buy a home in Valparaiso. Beautiful home. Not a mansion, not a spectacular house that you see in lifestyles of the rich and famous. A nice home. He raised 3 kids. They lived in a safe community. Good education that didn't indoctrinate the kids. And for the most part, up until recently, Dennis lived in a country where a government was in the background. It didn't intrude in his life until just recently. And he's able to retire debt-free and live a great life. That is the American dream that Republicans need to unite around. Go down to D.C. and fight like hell for it. Because that's what's being taken away from us in this country. Because we're being told that if you don't go to college, you're a bad person. You go to work as a steel worker. What's wrong with you? You should be a gender studies professor at Oberlin. Right? I mean, Dennis is so ignorant. He thinks that there's only 2 genders, man and female. I mean, my God. Right? Try affording a home today out of high school. Try doing that. Today in America, be a 19-year-old and afford a home. Today, if you're a 19-year-old, you're living in your parents' basement for a long time, and it's bad for both of us. Having 3 kids. I look at my youngest son. I'll say he's frugal. Okay? He's looking at it saying, Dad, I don't know that I want to have kids. Because I can't afford it.
Yep.
That's
I give up.
terrible. buy a car today, you know, I was in the car business, as you know.
No deal for me.
The average car payment 5 years ago when I sold my last dealership was $200 a month for a new car. Today it's $800 a month.
Yep.
And climbing. You take internal combustion engines and destroy that business and move us to electric vehicles, and there's one of two paths. One, electric cars are extraordinarily expensive, but that's what they want. They want us to drive scooters, live in a big city, and bike to work. Cars represent freedom. They hate it. They're trying to price us out of that market. Then you look at the idea of a safe community. I was with some friends that are from out of town, and I said, we're going to go to this restaurant in downtown Columbus. Oh, we'll walk to our hotel. I'm like, no, I wouldn't walk to your hotel. They said, what do you mean? It's only 4 blocks away. We're in Columbus. Yeah. Yeah, you are. You can't really walk to your hotel because it's not safe in Columbus, Ohio. Good schools. I mean, think about what the garbage is that our kids are being taught at school. They're being told, I'll give you a personal example. My same youngest son, he gets to college. 3 days before school starts, this is a kid that took after his mom, really smart, great student. He gets an email that says, hey, we see that you're Hispanic, so we have special counseling and tutoring available for you. Because he must be stupid because his dad was born in South America. And we're the racists, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right? We're the racists. They're the racists.
Yes.
Then you look at this idea of a government not intruding in our lives. Imagine this setting right here 4 years ago today. 4 years ago today, what happened? We were on the eve of an election.
China virus.
And what did we do? Not in California, not in New York, not in Illinois, in Ohio. We had our Secretary of State and our governor say that we've decided the health of our citizens is more important than free and fair elections, and postpone that election, despite that a federal judge had said you cannot do that. And yet it was done. This setting we would have all been charged with 70 counts of felonies for being this close together. They told us we had to be masked, we had to be vaccinated. Not only do you have to be vaccinated, if you weren't, we'd take your jobs away. And if not for the Second Amendment, we would have been locked up in COVID camps, just like they did in Australia and Canada and New Zealand. So when I hear politicians that are weak on the Second Amendment, I say, why don't you go take a trip to Venezuela and see how that worked out for the citizens of Venezuela. So I'll stop here, and I'm going to say something that's going to embarrass our next speaker.
No.
Who is that?
You know, this is the world of politics.
Oh, okay.
So this is the world of politics. So, and let's look at what that word means. Poly means many.
Oh.
Ticks. Blood-sucking animals. So, I should never have been confused why politics is ugly. It's in the word. This person I got to meet, Bridget and I got to meet her a few months ago. And then you read the media accounts on her. And then Bridget and I spent 2 days with her. And I said, my God, the press is so gross. The press is so corrupt. Because I'll tell you, she's one of the smartest, nicest, kindest, well-spoken person. If it wasn't that she was running for the United States Senate in Arizona, I would say if we could make her the press secretary, she would make the media cry every day. Every day. Anderson Cooper would break down in tears every day. So please welcome the next senator of the state of Arizona, Mike.
Oh my God, it's really her.
Kari.
Holy crap, she's pretty.
Kari.
Thank you. Oh, Ohio, what an incredible welcome. Oh, this is going to be an easy victory. I can already see it. I see we have the same social life. Here we are on St. Patty's Day, and we're gathering together to talk politics because we love this country so much. We want to be able to celebrate St. Patty's Day into the future, and the only way we can do that is to save our country. Bernie, I am just so honored to be here. Something happened this last week. I was paying attention a little bit outside of my own race to what's happening in other parts of the country, and I heard about this absolute smear campaign that the disgusting fake news, I think there's a few of them back there, had done to Bernie. And where's Colton from my team? I said, Colton, find out how we can get on a plane to Ohio right away. He said, you're crazy, there's no time. I said, we're gonna go to Ohio. I want to stand beside Bernie Moreno, one of the greatest patriots I've had the pleasure of meeting since If the fake news is manufacturing BS stories on this guy, that means Bernie Moreno is directly over the target. That means we got to send him to Washington, D.C. to drain this swamp, right? I say that because I've always, in the course of running for office, I've said, whoever the media is attacking the loudest with the most ridiculous accusations, that's who you've got to vote for. That's, think of President Trump. They go after him, they make up stuff, you got to vote for President Trump. They make up nonsense stories about me, you got to vote for KARI. I'm loud, but I don't know if I'm that loud. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. So I said, get on a plane. We are going to come up to Ohio, and we are really hard for Bernie Moreno because we got to get this guy over the finish line. He is the only America First candidate running in the state of Ohio, and we need him in the U.S. Senate. Who does President Trump Moreno? Who does VANCE endorse? Bernie Moreno. I endorse Bernie Moreno. The entirety of the America First movement endorses him because truly he's the only American candidate running here in Ohio. And I think about the guys he's running against, and the more I hear about them. Today I was researching one of the candidates. I guess his name's Matt. Hold it up here. Okay. Matt Dolan. Somebody said Mitt Dolan. I said, that's actually a little more accurate, Mitt Dolan. But then I started to think about some of the things he'd said. I started to think about when the woke mob came out, and he took one of the great brands in all of American sport history, frankly, one of the great brands in American, an iconic brand, the Cleveland Indians. When the woke mob came after him, he folded like a cheap Chinese lawn chair. And he said, okay, all right, well, we'll change the name of our team. That is American history. I mean, I'm from Arizona. The Indians are part of American history. What's next? He's an doormat to the woke. He lets the woke mob walk all over him. What's next? Do we change the Yankees? Do we change the name of some of these other great teams, the Cowboys? These are teams that are part of American history. And when somebody like Matt Dolan says, I'm going to fold woke mob, imagine what that would do in the United States Senate. He would fold in a heartbeat to anybody who says, Matt, you better vote this way, not that way. We got to have somebody who's fighting for the good people. Okay, everyone's telling me to hold the mic down.
She's gorgeous.
Does that sound better?
Yeah.
I've been around microphones my whole life, so. And I have a bunch of people who haven't telling me hold it down. I think we had a bad battery. So, but I'll hold the microphone down, that's fine. One of the things that concerns me most is the communist regime that has such a hold, not only right now over our entire country. Our White House is controlled by the CCP. We know that Joe Biden's bought and paid for. We don't want to send somebody to Washington, D.C. Okay, hello. Down here, it's working. We don't want to send somebody to Washington, D.C. who is beholden to the CCP like Joe Biden. And these other two guys running against Bernie, they supported the Confucius Institute at our universities. Look, we have that in Arizona. This is not some cultural reach and outreach. The Confucius Institute is a spying mechanism by the CCP in China into our universities. You all get that, right? Yeah. We're all smart enough in here. And that's what the other two guys running against Bernie Moreno are for. We got to root the Confucius Institute out. We got to root the Chinese Communist Party out of our government. They've infiltrated not only our White House, they have infiltrated our universities. And these other two guys running are for the CCP. They're for the Confucius Institute. And there's one guy running who's actually for America and for Ohio. And that is Bernie Moreno. And finally, I'm going to talk a little bit about what's happening in my state, and I'm very concerned about it, and I know you are as well. I live in Arizona, as you probably know, and we have a wide open border there. And it's not because we haven't been screaming out about that wide open border. I've worked as a journalist, a fair and honest journalist for 30 years, 27 years covering the great state of Arizona, and it had never been more secure than under the greatest president, not just of my lifetime, but I believe in American history, Donald J. Trump.
Yes! Yes!
Trump 24. So it's going really great. I'm covering Arizona. We have a wide open border. The border wall consisted of literally a rusted barbed wire fence before President Trump. He came in and built about 100 miles of border wall. Beautiful, big, tall border wall that was effective. And he shut down illegal border crossings pretty much almost to zero during his time. I saw it because I lived there. And then on day one, a bumbling fool, hold on, I'm getting a new mic. Hello, hello.
Yeah!
And we said Bernie Moreno.
Yeah, Bernie!
And then on day one, a feeble, bumbling fool named Joe Biden comes in and, he pulls back an effective border policy. It makes no sense other than he's working for people who are not for America. We know it now. We know it now. He's bought and paid for by Ukraine.
He's a Romulan.
Burisma. He's bought and paid for. He's even got the Moscow mayor's wife paying him off. That one's kind of curious. He's even got the CCP paying him and Hunter. They're a mess. That family's a mess. And then he opens up our border on day one, and we have a record number of crossings. 9 to 15 million people have poured across. They say 9. I believe President Trump when he says it's closer to 15. He's never lied to me. These other people have. Somebody said never. President Trump's told the truth the whole time. All the time. And Joe Biden, with his ties to the CCP, has allowed for the CCP to funnel a weapon of mass destruction into this country right through my state, Arizona. It's called fentanyl.
Yeah. Oh.
And it has killed hundreds of thousands of young people. There's not a person in this room who doesn't know somebody who's been affected by somebody who's died from fentanyl poisoning. I say poisoning because this is not an overdose in most cases. 6 grains, imagine 6 grains of salt in the palm of your hand. Imagine that, and that's all it takes of fentanyl to kill any one of us in this room. And people are taking what they think are real pills. It's counterfeit pills, and they're dying. It's killing our young generation. And that's on Joe Biden's watch. That's through the CCP. And what does Bernie Moreno's opponent want to do? In a secret recording that was revealed, we found out in so many words, he said, let's not worry, let's not let the border distract us from funding Ukraine. Right. I'm sorry, Doormat Dolan.
Yes. Yes. Oh. Scalped.
I'm a mom, and I'm offended that. I'm offended that people are dying from fentanyl overdoses. And I'm offended they care more about Ukraine's border than our border. And it's going to end when Ohio votes you out and votes Bernie Moreno in for U.S. Senate.
Yeah.